Sup guys, welcome back. Today's video, gonna be answering some questions again. And this one I think I'll be able to clear up all the comments that I had earlier. So guys, I caught up. Keep commenting. I know I've been doing these videos like a ton recently, so I don't blame you guys, but keep commenting. I bet the questions that you have about the military, a lot of people have as well, but they just aren't commenting, so keep it up. And keep liking, subscribing, keep letting the people see these videos more, and yeah, I think it'll be a good thing. So let's start off with the Rideout. He's been asking a lot of questions, and I appreciate it, dude. But he's going to be asking, what do you think is the coolest job in the Marines? Well, I'm an infantryman, so I'm a little biased, but obviously infantry is cool and all, but it's not fun. So I would say the coolest job in the military, just like from an outside perspective, because I was only infantry, would be EOD. So like EOD is super dangerous. It's explosive ordnance disposal, so you're going out there and you're disposing of ordnance and unexploded ordnance, and also IEDs if you're in combat and shit. So it's a very dangerous job, but I think it'd be cool just doing that sort of thing where you have to be in high stress environments like that all the time, and that way you get to go back after your military service and be like, yeah, you know, I was next to like freaking unexploded bombs like all the time. So I think that's pretty cool. I would say the coolest job in the Marines, EOD, but obviously I wasn't them. Next question, Carson is asking, are there any restrictions on flat feet that you know about? I have flat feet and don't know if I will pass MEPs. Well, I wasn't flat-footed, but I knew a couple people who were. They were able to pass. Obviously it's gonna, I bet there are restrictions on which job you can join, but yeah, you can definitely join still. I know people who have flat feet and joined. And just make sure to go with a job. If they even allow you to do like infantry, don't do infantry, right? Like, you gotta know your limitations. Don't try and get yourself killed, or make your legs or your feet go even flatter. I don't know. I don't know the problem with flat feet, but all I know is, you know, it's a problem with your feet. So make sure not to get yourself hurt in the making of whatever job you're trying to join. Anyway, next question is Ross, and he's asking, in boot camp, what is the haircut schedule at the receiving week like? Well, I mean, it's actually the same as receiving week. It's every single week you get a haircut. You're just going to be freaking shaved across the head. Pretty sure that goes for every branch. But, yeah, as for the Marines or whatever, it's every week. I don't know which day it is. I don't think it's a specific day. I think it's like 6 or 7 days you get one. And, yeah, it's going to be real fast. Sometimes people will be bleeding afterwards because the civilian barbers, they just go whooshoo, whooshoo, whooshoo. You know, they're trying to go through, you know, a company-sized element in like a very quick amount of time, probably like 2 hours max. So, yeah, you're probably going to be bloody afterwards, but hey, good times, good times. Nighthawk, speaking on those horror stories, Nighthawk is saying, I am just about to head to boot camp, and just now am I hearing about all these horror stories. Well, dude, I mean, that's what makes cool stories, because you hearing me say these things, you're probably like, oh man, you know, that's pretty funny, and like, or like, oh, that's badass, like any story I do. So, I mean, the horror stories all add up for some good laughs afterwards. It's just while you're doing it that you have to endure it and suffer the pain. It's not afterwards, for most of the things. Combat is a little different, I would suppose. Like, you know, obviously you're gonna have lasting effects from that shit, but like horror stories from like boot camp, that's just fun stories afterwards. Next question. Let's go up here. It's from Theron. He's asking, why are you so damn sexy? I don't know, man. I don't know why. It's probably because I have all these cutoffs all the time. The Rideout, again, is asking, do you know if the Marine Raiders still exist? Yes. Marine Raiders are in MARSOC. They still exist. Hewen is asking, what's a safe weight to be at when you go to boot camp so that you don't get crushed by ruck marches? I'm at 167 pounds and bulking, but I'm not sure when to start cutting. I mean, obviously it's depending on your height and weight, but I would say in general, and I made a whole video about this, like what weight you should be and like what workouts you need to do in a previous video, so I'm not going to go super in depth with this, but I would say for a general idea of where you should be at is, no matter your height or weight, you should have about 10 to 15 pounds of fat. So like enough to make it so you don't have a six-pack, but not enough to make it so you can't see your own dick when you pee, right? Like, you want to have like that perfect balance of like fat covering your muscle, all right? So you want to be as freaking jacked as possible, all right? Obviously you aren't going to be freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger going into boot camp, but you want to be as jacked as possible. and also have a layer of fat over you. If you are a naturally fat person, you got to run more. If you're naturally skinny, don't run as much. You're going to be fine in boot camp, trust me. So just make sure to do whatever you can to have endurance, but also be jacked, and also have a layer of fat to make it so that when you hit boot camp and you're running all the time, every single second of the day, for 3 months, and you aren't getting fed too much, then it's not going to go and cut into your muscle. Because the people that are jacked but have six packs, and it's very low that it's very obvious that they have low body fat going into boot camp, they end up just being smaller out of boot camp. But if you go into it like a medium, like a jacked, but like you have a medium amount of fat over your body, then you're just gonna be freaking shredded out of your mind getting out of boot camp, but also keep on that mass. So I hope that made sense. But again, I went into depth earlier, so just watch that video. Vargas is asking, how does infantry overcome or forget about fear, or is there always fear? And he's put in parentheses in combat. So I have never been to combat, can't speak on that. But as for infantry overcoming fear, I can't speak about that. There's actually 2 points I want to make. One of them is this acronym they gave us called the combat mindset. And that what it goes is, it's the acronym is CAR. It's basically you have to be confident, you have to be aggressive, and you have to be relaxed. Yeah, that's what it is. So that's gonna lead you through combat. Like that's what you have to go hone on to. You have to be aggressive. You have to be confident with yourself, with your training and everything. And then with that, you can be relaxed. All right, you can go through the motions, not become complacent, but you can go through the motions and be confident and aggressive enough to complete the mission, no matter how fearful you are of IDs blown up in your face, or like, guns, just pointing at you. You can overcome that. Now, that being said, they actually put us through some training. I did a video on this. I think I took it down, though, because I have my work shirt on. But I did a video about this infantry immersion trainer. If you haven't seen it, I would say look up a video about the infantry immersion trainer. They put infantry Marines through this scenario. And basically, it looks like Iraq. They have a bunch of Iraqi, or not Iraqi, but just a bunch of civilians that dress up like Iraqis. And they give them, some of them guns or whatever. And they make it like a combat scenario where there's a bunch of civilians and there's a bunch of people with guns. And what I remember this one time, I went through this freaking corridor, this alleyway, and then like right when I went through it, it was just instantly blanks from an AK being fired in my direction. You could see like the blast and stuff. I was like, oh, I was like freaked out. I was like, oh shit, and I was like pointing my rifle. See, like those scenarios show you if you have fight or flight. And for my natural instinct, I have flight. So I have to overcome that. So was I able to overcome that? Yes. The next patrol that we did, where I wasn't dead and gunned down, I was going through there super confident. I had my back straight. I was, going through. I was looking all my directions. And the next time we took contact, I killed 2 people. So I mean, again, you have to just training, a lot of training. They're gonna put you through this, and training and repetition, you'll be able to go and overcome your fears. I think that answers the question. It's just fight or flight. Remember, it's something that we all instinctually have. Some people have fight, some people have flight. It's just how it is. Jag is asking, there isn't a correct way to have a DI repeat what he said if you couldn't hear him, right? Yeah, I mean, you gotta go and listen, and if you don't understand, I mean, I don't think I've ever run into a situation where I didn't hear them and then I end up getting in trouble, because like as long as you do whatever you think he said in a fast manner, he's not gonna get mad. Like as long as you're like really trying to go and like do something like super fast, you're running to whatever you think he said, he's not gonna get mad about that. But if you like didn't understand the directions, again, another tip would be just to look at everybody else. If everybody else is doing something, chances are you're supposed to do that as well. So make sure to do whatever anybody else is doing. And man, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Ross is asking, how are politics in the USMC? Can you vote at boot camp? Great video. Thanks, I appreciate it. How are politics in the USMC? It's, I mean, again, like I've said this in previous videos, sort of, a little bit. So when you go to the field and like you're doing a bunch of badass training, like close to death, and then you get back, when you hear about like some politician from 10 years ago said this mean thing and it offended people and it made freaking highlight, like it was told around the world because he said this one thing. we don't give a fuck. Like, the only thing we care about is like life or death. So how are politics in the USMC? We don't really care, I guess. We have our biases. Like, most of us are conservative, but I have a lot of outspoken liberals that were in my unit as well. Is what it is, man. We agree to disagree, and like, it is also a very aggressive environment. So some people will be more outspoken than others, and they won't be afraid to go and like to say their opinion. But I mean, it's just like, we don't really care at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter what's happening around the world compared to like what we're going through, so we don't give a fuck. What is this? What advice can you give to those? Oh, wait. Okay, so Russ, his last question was, can you vote at boot camp? I forgot about that. No, you can't. Now, Mauricio is asking, what advice can you give to those transitioning out, brother? Yeah, I appreciate you asking this question. I think there's a lot of transitioning veterans out there trying to look at, what they can do about transitioning. So I'm a year and a half into the Civ Div, and I'll tell you what, the biggest things that have helped is getting in contact with my old unit members. That was one of the biggest things. Letting my feelings and thoughts out there. So YouTube is a big outlet for me. Just having an outlet, either with your veteran buddies or the people in your unit, or whatever it is, having an outlet, because you won't be able to go and talk to these things to civilians, as you probably know. Yeah, it's a hard world out there, dude. Just know that there's a lot of people going through the same thing. Keep the suicide hotline next to you, and you'll be good to go, dude. Be good to go. I'm still, if you're wondering, I'm a year and a half into the Civ Div, and I'm still going through some pretty serious trials, I'd call it. And Tom is asking, so if it doesn't matter how I hold the bar, could I do chin-ups for the ICT instead of pull-ups? Yes. Also, what is your job? I'm not going to go into my job anymore. I don't want to go and get like freaking flagged by my job, because I don't know. I don't want, especially with my work shirt on, which is why I took that video down. Like, I don't want my job being tied to what I say in these videos. I think it's a very dangerous thing to do. And he's saying, going back to MEPs Tuesday/Wednesday, so I'm super hyped about that. Dude, good luck. I hope you saw that video about MEPs I did. Definitely recommend giving that a watch if you haven't already. I think it's just titled like MEPs. Something with MEPs in it. Goddamn. But yeah, good luck, dude. Good luck. That's coming up. I wish you the best of luck. The Rideout is asking, how can someone become part of artillery? Ask the recruiter about artillery, and he'll get you tied up with an artillery contract if he has one. But also, don't let him try and get you to be a mortarman. Mortarman is infantry, and it's a different job than artillery. Don't let him go and be like, oh yeah, mortarman is basically artillery, be a mortarman. Don't do this shit. There's no contracts where you can be a mortarman, but there are contracts where you can be field artillery. So, yeah. Thanks for answering my questions from Delgado. And also, if I become a Boy Scouts, can that help me for something in the Marines? Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna, any like group, community where you have to go and do something like physical or like learn something, I think is beneficial. I mean, especially Boy Scouts, like it teaches you some like basics on tying knots and shit. I think that's useful. Yeah. I wasn't a Boy Scout though. Brandon, alright, so I have a quick few questions. I can't answer all of them. I'm coming up on 15 minutes. But first, do you know anything about being a tanker in the Marines? No, I'm afraid not. I saw them. There's a big unit in 29 Palms of tankers, but I don't know much, man. Second, and this will be the last one, is there a job that you would recommend for a career in the Marines? I would say administrative jobs. Definitely not infantry, but try and lat move if you can. Lat move is where you just switch up your jobs like midway through, but I think you have to re-enlist. So I would say career-wise, you can definitely do any job for the first 4 years, but again, like lat move will be your best friend if you don't enjoy that. Lat move is where you sign another enlistment, but you get to change your job. You can't do it in the middle of an enlistment most of the time. I tried to do that. They didn't allow me to do it, mostly because I was medically injured, but it was also because they invested too much money into me to warrant training me for 2 jobs for only 4 years. So just think about that. But anyway, guys, I've got to go, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I appreciate all your support. Leave some more comments. I believe I've got a big video coming tomorrow, so keep your heads up for that, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.